Okay, fuse tester assignment. So I went into the tool room here to start with, and I'm going to show you there's two main tools. There's actually three tools you can use to check a fuse with. This is called a 12 volt test light. It needs 12 volts to light up. There's a voltmeter. Electronic voltmeter, and then we also have a continuity tester which you use on a separate assignment, and I'll show you that just briefly. The way the continuity tester works, it has a battery in itself inside the handle. So when I touch the tip, you can see the bulb lights up. That tells us that there's continuity through the system, whatever we're checking. So I would hook up, excuse me, if I wanted to check something for continuity, such as the bench top, I could touch the lead and the tip. And if the bench has continuity, the light will light up. So if you're trying to check a switch or a wire, for example, this would tell you if the wire is conducting electricity. Very useful in some cases where you're just trying to do a quick test to find out if power can get through something or not. So that's a continuity tester. This is not used on a 12 volt circuit. It will blow out the bulb. So do not use this on a 12 volt circuit or any circuit that has a battery hooked up to it. On the other hand, this needs to have power. This needs the battery to light up. There is no battery within this unit. It has to get its power from an external source. And we'll show you here in just a minute. Get the battery exposed. Just going to clamp this onto the. It's not polarity sensitive, which means it'll hook up either way, positive or negative with the clip, positive or negative with the pointed end. I touch it, we have power. So that has a 12 volt difference across the light. Like here, I'm across the battery, so it's going to cause electricity to flow through the wire and through the test light. So that way we know where it works. That's your first step should always be to check the light to make sure the light does function. You have a good ground connection with the alligator clip. To check a fuse, I can come in, and these are your blade fuses that you see here, these smaller ones. These are a different style of fuse, which you can't get access to. They're protected inside the case. And there may also be some relays. I don't see it in this particular fuse box. So a lot of times out here into the engine compartment, these have the fuses in what they call the battery junction box. And they'll have another fuse box similar to this, a little smaller, inside the passenger compartment, somewhere inside the cab. A lot of times it's on the driver's side of the vehicle, in underneath the dash. It just varies. Sometimes they're on the end of the dashboard. One of the vehicles, you open the door up and you pull off the end of the dash panel and exposes the fuses. GM likes to do that. It would be right here. Pull this off. So it just, again, it varies with the vehicle. You have to look. The manual is a good place to look, or the internet if there's no manual. Some of our vehicles in the shop do not come with manuals. By the time we get them donated, the manuals are long gone. So back to the fuses. These fuses are plastic to protect it, and then you can see there's a metal looks like a lump in the very middle. It runs up and over, and that's the weak part of the fuse. That's what's going to burn out, is here in the center of it. I'm just going to use this to point it out. This will burn out when there's too much amperage. These numbers represent the amperage that can go through them before they will burn out, and there are different ratings to protect the circuit so you don't have too much current flowing through the wire in the circuit. So you can pull these out and check them with that multimeter that I showed you in the shop. You could use the continuity tester in the tool room, rather. Use the continuity tester that's in the tool room to check them. You can also check them in the vehicle, like we're going to do now. And if you can tell or see that there's, on this red 10 amp, you can see that there's metal showing through. And guess what? There's power. That has power hooked up to it all the time. And it lights up on both sides. That tells me that the fuse is conducting electricity through it. That's a good sign. The fuse should conduct electricity through it. It's there for protection. It's there to burn out if there's too much current flowing through the circuit to where it could danger the circuit otherwise. So the fuse is designed to be the weak link, burn out, tell you that there's a problem, and then you can fix that before we smoke the harness and cause the wires to burn up or cause a fire. So that was the one scenario. This next scenario would be it would light up on one side but not the other, so it's not going through the fuse. That would indicate that the fuse has a problem with it. It's probably burned out if you look, or that it's damaged in some way. And the third scenario is if I go to hook this up and there's no power on either connection, so it's dead on both sides, which could be a problem. It doesn't tell us anything about the fuse. It tells us that there's no power to the circuit. Could be as simple as a switch turned off, or maybe we've got issues with the wiring or something more serious. So those are the three different scenarios. It should have power on both sides, ideally, and the circuit's up and working. So hope that helps. Just let me know when you've got things completed on your sheet, and we'll get you signed off. Good luck.